Hi, everyone. Welcome to Athletes to Entrepreneurs, the Alumni Journey. I'm Rob Finkelstein, founder of Alumni Direct, and we've created the premier platform for alumni worldwide that helps spark connections through affinity relationships. And we're real excited about creating content and value to different alumni. And we've created this show to help athletes and guide them and inspire them through their journey from sports to the career afterwards. And we're real excited today. We're going to have different athletes on the show. And today we have Chris Salem. He's a great guy, friend of mine. Chris is an executive coach. He's a business acceleration influencer strategist. He's an investor. He does so much. And Chris, actually, I don't know how you had time for it, but he's an award-winning author. How you doing, Chris?
Rob, doing great. Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. It's great to have you. And I think everybody out there is excited, and this is our premiere show. And what we want to do is I'm going to ask you some questions, just kind of get a feel and see what we can do to help athletes out there.
Absolutely.
All right. So we're going to start off. This is a good one. I want you to start off and tell me about playing sports as a kid and then ultimately leading up to college.
Well, I mean, as ever since I was like 3 years old or 4 years old, around that age, I just fell in love with baseball. I mean, I had a mitt. I was always in the backyard throwing the ball. My dad started throwing a ball to me when I was really, really young. We didn't have T-ball back then. We didn't have, Little League didn't start until you were like, I don't know, 7 years old. But nonetheless, I was always playing in the backyard. So that was baseball, football, basketball. Those were primarily the three team sports I really gravitated to. The only other solo sport, I guess I got involved when was motocross. I used to ride dirt bikes, but that was not till I was around 8 years old. But nonetheless, baseball was pretty much my game, and then football, basketball from there. And it's just something that I just gravitated to and just lived, slept, and breathed it. I used to go to Yankee games, and I had a baseball card collection, and I had, certain people that I admired. Craig Nettles was my hero, third base for the New York Yankees back when I was growing up in the 70s. And with that, and Mike Schmidt, other guys like that I admired greatly because I was a third baseman. And as a result of that, what I loved about the, baseball was the leadership role. Now, I didn't really understand that at the time when I was young growing up. But when I look back, I could see how I really gravitated towards that because for some reason I always had these leadership skills. Didn't know I was even doing it at the time, but I always had this knack for being resourceful to people, being an example. And I wondered why later in life people would sit next to on an airplane next to me and start telling me their challenges and their problems, and they would look at me and say, why am I can't believe I'm telling you this. I don't even tell my wife this or my husband this, but I feel so comfortable telling you. But again, it was that being that example, being that resource in so many different aspects that it just made people feel comfortable and, building that camaraderie and building that rapport with people. So I look back on baseball and sports just as a way that has developed my leadership skills in my adult life. Here is what I do.
That's great. It's kind of like talking to Dr. Chris on the airplane.
Yeah.
So here's a good question. Most of us, did you dream of being a pro athlete?
Well, yes, I did. My dream was to play baseball, and I was on my way. I mean, one of the things that had worked against me was I was not relatively tall. I was 9.5, going almost 5'10". And back then, it wasn't really that much of a big deal. But once I got to that college level, and this is around the mid 80s, ball players were getting a lot bigger, and not only bigger. I mean, I had the width. I just didn't have the size in terms of being tall, and it was just something that I had to work around. But it wasn't enough. But nonetheless, I still loved the game. Still played well beyond my college years into my throughout my 20s in adult leagues, and then eventually softball. And then eventually from there going into coaching my son in Babe Ruth, in Cal Ripken leagues, and recently stepped down about 3-4 years ago, but still love the game and probably will get back involved again at some point when my son has his children, and maybe I'll get back and I'll coach as an older man.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, I went through that. I would have loved to be a pro athlete, but I kind of wasn't that great in sports. So that's why I'm doing this. but I did. I coached and did the whole thing. Son was started playing about 5 years old. Coached t-ball. Ultimately became a travel baseball coach, which I'm sure you had fun with that.
Yep,
playing
I
it.
did that.
A lot of fun. So once you got to college and you're playing a little bit there, and I know you got injured, but are there things in college for these athletes and across all sports, do they have kind of programs that teach athletes of what they can do after their athletic career is over?
Well, I mean, there are things out there, but I just don't feel like they're really out there on a mass scale. I mean, a lot of times you got to go searching for them, but I feel that, there is a lot of great talent out there, but oftentimes a lot of this talent it's wasted because some of these young people just don't have the life skills. They don't have the proper upbringing, knowing how to use their talent and really add value, not only on the field, but also off the field. And oftentimes, these athletes could sabotage their careers through, negative behavior and certain actions that, will get them off the field. So with that being said, I think there's a lot of things, that could be done in this particular area that not only create awareness, but also to provide them some guidance and mentorship that they can become even better and become better role models and leaders on the field. And when they end up coming off the field, they could do the same in other capacities or other roles.
Yeah, that's great. And I think that's a lot what I'm passionate about too, is that, I've been fortunate now lately to be meeting a lot of people that are in this space, and they see that need of, how do you guide these young athletes as they go on? And like you said, whether it's how to handle social media, and a lot of these people face, if there are really good, maybe sports agents. So just ways to teach them. So if we can help them, that's great. So I guess looking at if you were to give advice you've kind of journeyed into entrepreneurship, kind of take me through, like, how would you guide athletes and give them advice on, okay, you've played the sport, you loved it, you put all the time, but now it's time to move on, and entrepreneurship can be great. Give us a little advice there.
Well, I would just say that, again, a lot of the things they did on the field can be then used in other capacities in other careers, especially with leadership, communication, and so on. So it's really providing the education to create awareness that their identity is not just wrapped up in the sport that they played, that there are a lot of things that they did on the field that can now be used in some type of capacity in an entrepreneurial role. And again, using those leadership skills, how they communicated with their players in the field, how you can be doing that with people that you work with, that work for you, and then also your customers. So a lot of times that these skills can easily be tweaked and aligned in that capacity if they just have some awareness and some of the different education and knowledge that can help them to understand that and how they can now use it in that capacity. So there are resources out there, but it's making sure that they understand where to go and that they take advantage of those mentors and those resources to help them to do that. Because you look at some of these pro athletes that have made great transitions into other careers and then been able to utilize their leadership skills, their communication skills on the field, now off the field. And right. There are many players out there that have that same opportunity to do the same.
Gotcha. Okay. And one thing that, what Alumni Direct is all about is creating these alumni relationships and that affinity. Have you, I guess, in your experience, have you tapped into that? Have you looked at your fellow alumni in ways that they could help you out from your school, which, going to Arizona State?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I keep in touch with a lot of people from my college, not only people that I was in a fraternity while I was out there, Delta Sigma Phi. So I keep in contact with a lot of the guys that I went to school with. Even some of the people that went after long after I graduated. I'd love to keep in contact. And then other people that were not in my fraternity. So it's just a way where I have a network built out of people over either when I was there at school, some people that were there before me, people that were after me, that I have a pretty strong network of people. And I think it's a great thing that a lot of people do. And now that Alumni Direct, provides a platform that gives people that one-stop shop to do all these things, it just makes it a lot easier to keep those relationships, nurture them, and really begin to reap what you sow from them. It's not just receiving from others from there, but you're also giving of your time and giving without expectation to help others.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And yeah, that's what we're all about. I guess we're going to we'll wrap this up with, tell us a little more. I kind of hit it at a top level in the beginning, but tell us a little more about what you're doing today, some of your businesses, and how people can find you.
So, today I'm a business executive coach. I also do business acceleration and influence strategy for entrepreneurs and startups, including major brands. I'm also an award-winning author, radio show host, media personality, and I'm a professional speaker. So today I'm working with executives and helping them to build their personal success foundations to scale their brands and businesses to the next level. I also work with startups and helping them to position themselves based upon a growth mindset and core values as a way to better connect with investors in terms of where they are and where you are and where your opportunity is going, to align yourself to raise capital to take your business to the next level. I also do a lot of training and business advising for small to mid-sized corporations, as well as Fortune 500 at the business unit level, and work with a lot of small businesses like CPA firms, dental offices, that type of thing. So I like to keep active. I like working both companies and individuals. And it's just my purpose. I love helping others to help themselves.
That's great. I mean, Chris has figured out, I think it's like a 36 hour day now. Like somehow. It's
yeah. I kind of condense it in there. Yeah, I do. Now I do work hard, and, but I do take time to rest, and, on certain, on weekends, and I do have a daily routine that I do. So, but it's just, to me, it's, I love what I do. So when you love what you do, it doesn't seem like work.
That's awesome. And so tell us, how do people find you? What do you have your website, or what's the best?
Yeah. Best place to reach me is at ChristopherSalem.com. And you could also reach out to my email at chris@ChristopherSalem.com, or feel free to connect on LinkedIn, Christopher Salem. And I'd love to get to know who you are, why you do what you do, and how can we possibly help you through the network that I could put you in touch with.
That's great. Thank you so much. We really appreciate the time. And, at Alumni Direct, like I said, we really want to help people pay it forward, kind of create value. Please come out to our site, alumnidirect.com. You can find us on Facebook and LinkedIn, Twitter. And we want to do more shows like this. We're excited about having these athletes and just passionate about what we could do to help them and help everybody. So thanks again, everybody. Look for us and look for the next shows. We'll be putting it out there. Take care.